Hello, and thanks for coming by the Ready to Die channel. It's another Monster Monday where I display and explain the design behind a creature built for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. In addition to this video, these stat blocks and more can be found over on the Monster Monday blog, along with a Pathfinder 1st Edition and D&D 5e version. The blog, along with the Monster Monday Twitter and Discord, are linked below. Today's terrifying topic is a break from the Monster Hunter-esque creatures I've been building lately, and instead comes at the request of one of my brothers. The Razorkinder puppet hails from a card game known as Kaijudo, which looks like it might be a rebranded Duel Masters based on some of the art I've seen. Appearing in the Kaijudo cartoon, it is also represented by 3 separate cards: Razorkinder, Razorkinder Puppet, and Spiteful Razorkinder. These cards are all typed as evil toys, and range from level 5 to 7. I decided to stick with the lowest level and build it as a construct to fit the toy aspect of it. All of the Razorkinder's cards generate effects that cause the opponent to discard or slay their units, so I sought to lean into that with its design. I also originally thought it was a small creature, but it is described as being about 4 feet tall, which puts it in the bottom bracket of medium. Its combat style seems to be based more on finesse over force, leading to a high dexterity. It still has some considerable strength, especially considering its capability at grappling with its puppet strings, and uses a value close to moderate to represent that. It can be an intimidating creature, and I built it to be at least slightly deceptive, leading to a moderate charisma as well. Its design lends to it being an assassin and ambusher, which influenced a lower perception, as it isn't expecting to be the one caught unaware. Befitting a stealthy killer that terrorizes and grapples foes, it uses a wide array of skills, all of which have at least a moderate bonus. As a construct, it comes with a slew of immunities that help protect it, but unlike most constructs, it isn't mindless, leaving that as a vulnerability that the heroes can exploit, especially since it has a low will save. It is also vulnerable to being grappled and shoved, due to its similarly low fortitude save, and any spells that target fort, and can make it past its immunities, should also prove handy. However, given its dexterity, it probably isn't surprising that it has a high reflex save. Also based on its agility, its armor class is high, making it better at avoiding hits than it is at taking them. Balancing this out, it has hit points at the bottom of the moderate value. The Razorkinder has several means within its kit to hamper and leave foes more vulnerable. Keeping that in mind, both of its strikes use only a moderate bonus. Its claws normally deal moderate damage, but are equipped with a number of traits, the most obviously useful being Agile, and its deadly D8, to make them feel those crits. Its strings don't deal damage, but snare the target, grabbing or restraining them and making them flat-footed, which in turn sets up the Razorkinder to use its Nightmare Blades. This power functions similarly to Sneak Attack, with a name based off of one of this Perilous puppet's cards, and an effect inspired by them in general. I'm more familiar with Magic the Gathering, where discarding is sometimes flavored as losing one's mind. Borrowing from this concept, the Razorkinder's attacks against flat-footed foes deals mental damage instead of precision. This additional damage raises its claws strikes to a high average damage. There's a lot of focus around fear for the Razorkinder as well, which I sought to expound upon with the critical effect granted by this ability, borrowing a bit from the Hobgoblin's Remorseless Lash. Given its design as a rogue-type creature, the Razorkinder has Surprise Attack to take advantage of unprepared foes, and to help it do so, it also has the Puppet ability, which is designed similar to the Gargoyle statue. The DC for this and similar effects doesn't follow normal guidelines, so I made my best estimate when deciding it. While not demonstrated in its cards, the Razorkinder in the show has a power to expose victims to their worst nightmares when it removes its mask. To create this effect, I added the Unmasking Terror ability, allowing it to frighten creatures that can see it, thus including the visual trait in this action. Since creatures are then immune for 24 hours after it does so, I felt comfortable building it as a single action. The slowed effect on a critical failure is inspired by the concept of a creature becoming paralyzed with dread. Finally, we have the Razorkinder's Tricky Tangles reaction. I've mentioned previously that I'm a fan of coming up with fun and unique reactions in 2e, and this is one of those. It takes a misstep from a critical failure to wrap up a foe in its strings, which is a pretty big setup for the puppet. This allows it to start its turn with a target already flat-footed and the rabid ripping Razorkinder with no multiple attack penalty, increasing the likelihood of it landing a crit with its Nightmare Blades. As we come to the end of our rope in this discussion, we are left with a terrorizing toy that tricks, tangles, and tactically terminates targets. In the test, the Razorkinder puppet fared well solo, but it was pointed out that it would be even deadlier in groups. Such situations make it easier to set up flat-footed and to sow fear. They could also be fun minions for an appropriately leveled boss, such as an aspiring assassin, a sinister serial killer, or a twisted toy maker. There's no items this time around, because I mostly designed those for Monster Hunter style creatures. But while you're checking out the Monster Monday blog for the Razorkinder stat blocks, you can also take a look at those past monsters and their gear. These stat blocks can also be found on Twitter, or you can hop on the Discord to join the monster making and general tabletop discussions. These posts also include a Pathfinder 1st Edition version of the monster, along with a D&D 5e conversion. Thanks for watching and have a monstrous Monday!